Hi, my name's Ray and I'm Chief Pilot at Random Heli. Our skid clamps are a great way to lock down your heli during transport to the flying field, but they also make it easy to store or display your helis when they're not flying. Using skid clamps, it's easy to hang your models on a wall or even a ceiling. In this video, I'll show you how to mount skid clamps to hollow walls made of drywall, sheetrock, whatever you call it. On the Random Heli website, there's another video about mounting on masonry walls. In both cases, it's easy and you can probably do a fine job of it without any help from me. But you might find a tip or a trick that's useful, or maybe a cool idea you haven't thought of. So have a look. I hope you enjoy it. Have fun. Today I'm going to show you a couple of tricks for wall mounting or ceiling mounting your helicopters. The things that you'll need are a piece of paper, a ruler, a pen, a torpedo level if you can get one, the hollow wall anchors, a pair of skid clamps, an 1/8" drill bit, and a screw gun. Now you may be wondering why I only have 2 skid clamps out here. Well, for wall mounting, unlike mounting for transport out to the flying field, 2 skid clamps will do just fine. Obviously, if you're going to do it on the ceiling, you need 4. Before we get into the actual project, I want to talk to you a little bit about these hollow wall anchors that we'll be using. Over the years, I've used a lot of different hollow wall anchors, and I really like these. First, they're self-drilling, and second, the way that this slot is designed, once you run in the screw and it's just about done, the legs splay open and make a snap sound, and that lets you know the anchor is fully engaged. Here's an anchor with the tapping screw run in, installed in a sample piece of drywall. You can see how the legs have splayed out and fully engaged the drywall. There's one other thing I want to show you. It's really important to get that head flush. Even dimple the paper just a little bit. You want it that way so that when the skid clamp is installed, it's going to sit nice and tight to the wall and not sit up proud. All right, that's the basics on the anchors. Now let's start to lay out the skid clamps. We're going to make a pattern on paper of the holes that we'll drill in the wall. And it's a heck of a lot easier to make a paper pattern that you can hold up than try to hold your helicopter up on the wall, or even worse, on the ceiling. So the first thing we want to do is open up a clamp and put it on the skid just behind the skid strut. You notice that I've got the latch set up so that it's going to open outboard, and you want to do that because it's much easier to open and close the latch when it's on that side. So we're going to put one of those on both sides. Pretty simple. Then we're going to set the helicopter down on our piece of paper. And it's not important that the helicopter is lined up on the piece of paper, just so that you can get the holes in the skid clamps on the paper. So I'm just going to take my pen and draw around each one. Take the helicopter away and draw a straight line through those centers. And in a minute, I'm going to use that line to level the pattern on the wall. Okay, we're ready for the next step, and that is using our template to lay out the fasteners on the wall. First thing, I'll have my pen in my hand, and I'm going to grab the helicopter and put it approximately where it needs to go. I think something right about there. Now, it's not important that I level the helicopter or put it square up and down. All I need now is the location of one hole, and I'm going to use the one that's easiest for me to get to, right there. So now that I've got one hole marked, I'm going to drill an 1/8" pilot hole right through that spot. I can use that to locate my template. Now we've got that hole drilled, and I'm going to use my pattern. I'm going to put a little hole and use one of the screws that we'll mount with later and put it in that 1/8 inch hole. I'll just sort of keep it there as something to hold that while I level it. Then, using the torpedo level, I'll put it under that screw, line it up on our pattern, and then I'm going to move the pattern and the level at the same time until I can get that just about right. That looks pretty good. So, I'll hold that steady, and then with a pen or drill bit, I'll just make a tiny dimple in the wall so I can see it. And take the template away, and there are all 4 dimples. So using the 1/8 inch bit, four holes. The next step is to install the hollow wall anchors. I want to use a fair amount of force so that I can make sure that I get it flush or just below. There it is, just below flush. There you go, 4 anchors installed. The next step is to attach the clamps to the wall. As you can see, I'm not tightening it all the way up. I want to leave this just loose for now, and I'll show you why in a minute. So we have both skid clamps attached to the wall. The screws are loose. And the reason we want to do that is just before we tighten them up, we want to line them up. There's a little bit of play, and you don't need these very tight, just snug, just stop the covers from moving. There you go. Nice. So now we can close the caps. And finally, it's time to mount the helicopter. So we've got the clamps mounted, the screws run in tight, the screw caps closed, and we're ready for the payoff. A nice satisfying engagement in the little grippers, and 1 and 2, and we're done. That's wall mounting, hollow wall anchors. I hope you enjoyed it. Have fun.